Hello, everyone. It is Tuesday, day closer to Wednesday, which is a day closer to Friday. We are studying the blueprints on the table of the Old Steelhouse. Hello, everyone. My name is Wayne.
And I'm Rebecca.
And we are Your Bourbon Journey.
Back in May, it was late May, we were in Bardstown for a weekend. Always a fun time, highly recommended. And we finally had the opportunity to stop into the Old Steelhouse tasting room. As a matter of fact, we waited and waited till they were open because we were ready to go somewhere else. We're like, no, we're going in there. And we had the most fabulous time. Adam Inman was in there really helping us. And the other gentleman, I can't remember his name. Can you?
I can't. He was
Tom,
one of the
maybe
original.
Tom?
He was one of the original people with T.W. Samuels, right?
His dad was.
Yes. Okay.
His dad was. So, yeah, they have some vintage bottles in there that are not open. They're there because they were willed to the distillery if they got it running again. So it was previously very historic there in Bardstown where the T.W. Samuels distillery was running. And it started in 1844, which is crazy when you think about it. And T.W. Samuels, if you're not familiar, isn't that related to Maker's Mark, the original
Yes.
people with that? So I didn't know that until I went to Whiskey University. So if you haven't gone there, you should probably take a few classes. Just saying. Not getting any commissions or anything. I'm just saying it's a really good thing. You learn so much about whiskey history, plus you have some great taste. But that's when I'm like, wow, that's fascinating. And then knowing that and going into that tasting room, hearing that and running into this gentleman, and I wish I could remember his name. I'm so sorry. But he was sharing what his dad had talked to him about and showing us these bottles, and it was just amazing. They no longer have public tours of the distillery itself because they need to go through some renovations to make it up to snuff, let's say, for today's standards. But the tasting room is fantastic. You can do all kinds of pours there. You can buy souvenirs, and they have barrel thieving, which we have not yet done, but we absolutely are going to do it when we're there during the Kentucky Bourbon Festival week.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that too. And I love Adam. Adam's a great guy. We met him at Green River.
Yep, he was there before.
And he was getting ready to go to Old Steelhouse, and he gave us a business card, which I think I still have in my wallet.
I have it in my book. I have a book of business cards. I'm old school that way. Today we're doing 4 tastes. I know it seems kind of daunting to do 4 tastes, but they are highly related. The first 2 have a wheated Mashbill. One is a small batch and one is a single barrel. The second 2 have a Ryed Mashbill. Again, a small batch and a single barrel. We're going to start out with the wheated. Let me tell you a little bit about those. Small batch and single barrel wheated Mashbills are Kentucky straight bourbon whiskeys by Old Steelhouse Distillery. They were distilled in Kentucky and bottled by Old Steelhouse Distillery. The Mashbill is 64% corn, 24% wheat, and 2% malted barley. We purchased these on May 30th at their Bardstown tasting room. Old Steelhouse Batch 2 was aged 5 years, proof 105, and a price point of $70. Old Steelhouse Single Barrel 1 was aged 5.5 years with a proof of 113.8 and a price of $95. We're going to start with these first 2 on the table. Really, we're going to kind of taste them together because it's the same mash bill, and it's just that one is a small batch of the mash bill and one is a cask strength single barrel. I thought it would be a really interesting comparison. Lots of people like small batches, others really prefer cask strength. This will give us an opportunity to taste them kind of together. Very similar noses.
Mm-hmm.
The small batch nose might be a little sweeter, probably because it's a little less proofy. But 105 is a great proof point. I love a 105 proof point. It's very nice.
Well, you can tell it's a wheater. It's got that sort of that sweet wheat sort of component.
And they're almost the same age. So the small batch is 5 and the single barrel is 5.5.
I'm finding both of the noses almost exact, except that the single barrel, I think, is a little less sweet on the nose. It's a little more adult. This is like a very sexy teenager type, and this is like a young adult that really knows his stuff.
Well, let's taste the small batch.
We will go with the small batch first. Let's see what you're like. Cheers.
Cheers. I'm definitely getting the wheat profile. For me, it's not overly sweet. This wheat profile is feeling a little more bready to me, a little more savory, not super sweet. And it's got, already I'm feeling it, I've got some white pepper on the finish. I like it.
It's, for me, it's a little bit of a dry profile in my mouth. There's, like she said, the breadiness is there. There's a slight sweetness of a confectionery sugar. Maybe a little bit of nutmeg. Could
good
be
call.
wrong on that.
No, good call.
But there's something there of a baking spice that is very different. This is very enjoyable. This young whippersnapper is pretty good.
Well, they're about the same age. They're only like 6 months apart on age. But it's the proof that's different. It's 105 versus 113.8. And of course, when you do a small batch, you're blending several things together versus a single barrel. I'm going to jump into the single barrel now just because I want to taste it too.
Let's go to the single barrel here or whatever, and hopefully you get married soon. Cheers.
Cheers. Absolutely tell they're related.
Yes. Same profile, same taste, definitely more proofiness, which there should be. There better be with the numbers that are on the table. It's got a longer finish. It's got a longer mouthfeel as well. Really, the big difference is this one hangs around more than the first one does.
Yeah, for me, I'm finding it just, I would use the term richer.
Okay.
Cask strength has no added water. So the viscosity is a little bit thicker on the cask strength one. And it's giving me a little more opportunity to taste it. And it sits there on my palate a little longer. So it's a little richer for me. But they're so related. I love this experiment that we're doing. We didn't know we were doing an experiment until we got going. But just seeing how small batch versus single barrel really compares side by side when they're pretty identical, even on age.
I'm going back to the nose on the first one.
Yeah.
The second. The single barrel, even the nose comes out more.
A little
But
sweeter, maybe?
You could tell they're related. This one's just jacked up more than the first one. And there's nothing wrong with the first one at all. Probably if this wasn't on the table, I'd be like, probably hitting that pretty hard. But this guy here, this one here is like, slow your roll, take back a little bit, sit there and enjoy it. Don't throw me down. And it's good pour.
I would say I would highly recommend a small batch to folks who don't like things too much over 100 because it's 105 and that wheat profile is making it soft, viscous, and really easy to taste. So I would highly recommend it to people that maybe you're a Maker's Mark fan but wish it had a little more proof on it. This is pretty tasty. I'm not saying it's Maker's Mark in any way, shape, or form, but that wheated profile is what I'm talking about. I like this a lot. As Wayne said, the noses are quite similar except for the proofiness. And I'd say the single barrel just has a little bit more depth, a little bit more complexity, and absolutely more viscosity because it's creamier. It feels really soft and viscous in your mouth because it hasn't had any water added to it. And I think it's fantastic. I like them both.
I do.
I would pick the single barrel probably.
The single barrel, there's just more there. And that's no disrespect to the first one. If you don't want something that has a little bit more pop to it, if you want a little bit more of a mellower expression, this guy will not disappoint and will also give you an idea of what this guy is like because they're pretty much the same.
And a little bit lower price point, if that's important to you as well.
Yeah.
I like them both though.
I'm not disappointed with either one. They're very good.
So next we'll share a little bit about the Ryed Mashbills. Small batch and single barrel Ryed Mashbills are straight bourbon whiskeys by Old Steelhouse Distillery. These were distilled in Indiana or Kentucky, but both were bottled by Old Steelhouse Distillery. The Mashbill is 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley. We purchased these on May 30th at their Bardstown tasting room. The Old Steelhouse Blueprint 1 was aged 6 years, has a proof of 100 and a price point of 70. The Old Steelhouse Single Barrel number 7 was aged 8 years, has a proof of 111.9, plus is finished in a Hungarian oak cask, and it is price pointed at $125. Truth be told, I lost my receipt, so I had to guess by my American Express bill what they were. So I think I got them pretty close, but Adam, you can always let me know if I got the price points wrong, and I'll be happy to correct that. But again, these are Ryed Mashbills. So they have the same exact mash bill. They've taken the wheat out, added rye, higher percentage of corn. The small batch was aged 6 years versus the single barrel, which was 8 years. And this girl right here loves a Hungarian cask. So I'm curious how that goes. That's probably going to highly influence me when we get to that, but I could be wrong. But I bought it. We tasted it that day. But let's try the small batch.
Well, you get the rye.
Yes, you do.
There's that, the mintiness.
Yeah, it's even at about 21%. It's still, you're picking it up. It's got a little more spice notes than the wheated one did.
Mm-hmm. I think the corn is coming into play because the mintiness kind of bubbles up, but then it kind of subsides. So it's kind of going back and forth. I'm not sure what other notes I'm getting in this.
What I'm thinking that, as I recall, the corn percentage is actually higher in the Ryed mash bill at 75% corn. So that's going to bring a lot of sweetness to it. Nose is nice though, very nice. I mean, this, at 100 proof, this has a very complex nose, I think.
I almost want to say I'm getting dill on this.
Interesting. I can see that. I see where you come from.
Yeah.
Let's taste it.
Well, cheers to blueprint number 1. Cheers.
Cheers. The rye notes definitely come forward. It's a different experience than the wheater, which is probably why we bought all 4 bottles that day, because we were looking for 2 different experiences, to be honest. We don't mind either experience.
It is spicy. It is. There is rye. There's a slight mintiness, and it is combined with dill. I am getting dill because there is there is sort of this meeting. I actually really like this. This is a really complex flavor I'm getting. I'm really looking forward to trying this Hungarian, because if it's anything like this, I mean, the rye is coming forward in this.
It is.
And a lot of times we have stuff that has rye, and usually I'll end up getting spice, and I don't get rye, which is fine. In this case, I'm actually getting it, which sort of surprised me.
I think it's really nice. I like it's got a yin and a yang going with that heavy corn. It's got the sweetness from the corn, but yet the rye is bringing this spice note in that I'm really enjoying a lot. And for 100 proof, I think it drinks pretty nice for 100. So let's move on to the single barrel and see what we think about that. I may have to do a little comparison because this is going to be a little different because it's got a cask finish to it. And it is different.
I get a maltiness on this.
It is just nutty. You say malty, I say nutty. Maltiness can be very nutty. Sometimes when Wayne's thinking it's nutty, I'm thinking it's malty. He's thinking it's malty, I'm thinking it's nutty. So it goes back and forth, but I think the Hungarian's kind of doing that.
Well, it's amusing because I go from what I was getting sort of a rye dill on a very low rye, I am now getting a maltiness, and the nutty part usually plays with the maltiness.
I would say on a nose per nose basis, I like the finished one more. It's just got more layers happening, but let's try it. I'm done nosing.
Well, cheers to the single barrel with a mix of a Hungarian. Cheers.
Cheers.
Stop it.
I was almost going to say that.
The Hungarian barrel almost gives me a wine component, but I know it's not a wine component.
It's the wood.
And there is the maltiness, there is a sweetness, there is almost a little bit of caramel. I'm really stunned.
It's all over the place.
As these two were very similar, these two are not.
It goes to show you what wood can do to a bourbon when you're finishing it, because it's the same exact mash bill. One is 6 years, one is 8 years. And the proof is 100 versus, let's say, 112. But the Hungarian oak finish is just taking it to a whole nother level. First time I ever had Hungarian oak was with Old Louisville.
Yes.
I mean, loves to do things in Hungarian oak, and I fell in love with it there. So I gravitate toward it whenever there's one. I think that's why I was excited when Adam was saying, well, we have this or that. I'm like, yeah, let's try the Hungarian. I want to try that because I knew more than likely I was going to really like it.
And I get the maltiness up front. And then this Hungarian type works really well on my palate. The finish of it is maybe a little bit of a white pepper. It's a little dry in the back, which I kind of like. And it kind of hangs around.
I'm loving what the Hungarian oak did with this. It's just taking it to a whole new level. You said the thing about wine. I'm not getting that. I'm just getting these new oak layers that are bringing this nuttiness, this deep darkness to it, and an amazing finish. The finish is super long and complex. I like it a lot. That might be, if I had to pick one right now, I'd say that was my favorite pour.
Well, I think that bottle should be on our Whiskey of the Month.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It is that good. No disrespect to any of these others on the table.
They're all good.
They're all good, but boy, that Hungarian finish, whoo vey.
If you've not been introduced to Hungarian oak, you need to try it as soon as you can. I'm just saying, because it is just really interesting. And I love French oak. I love the vanilla pieces that come with French oak. There's something that's really hearty, right? Is that a good word for it? Hearty about the Hungarian oak? It's got a lot of substance to it. I like it.
I think it plays well and it brings out a lot of different components in bourbon.
This is a great lineup.
It is.
They are making some of their own juice right now, but some things that are older, they have sourced. And the image of what they choose to produce and what's going to be out there in the future. So I think it's pretty exciting what Old Steelhouse is going to be bringing to the table.
If you have an opportunity, you need to go visit them in Bardstown. It's worth your time. And with that, I'm going to lift our glass. And I want to give cheers to Adam Inman and the whole gang at Old Steelhouse. And we look forward to visiting you during the Kentucky Bourbon Fest and do that barrel theming. If you like what we do, hit the subscribe button. Always remember to drink responsibly. Drink the grandchildren of the T.W. Samuels Distillery and the Old Steelhouse. Cheers.
Cheers.